hi, deck profile here. Most of you will probably hate the deck because, I mean, it's annoying as shit, but I love it. Anyone who likes the deck or wants to play it because it's a cheap rogue deck that will do good, well, here's the video for you. I am missing some cards, and other cards I'm purposely not using just to keep it budget. So it is what it is, but let's start. Bountiful items set free. Obviously this is counter fairies. I don't even need to explain why it's set free. Guiding Ariande. It makes all of your costs, well, free, and if it's destroyed by, say, Twin Twister while in the Pendulum Zone, or if you actually put it on the field, God knows why. Search. Minerva. Every single counter trap boosts its attack, and this deck uses a lot of counter traps. Also, it can make it that if you have that and Bountiful Artemis on the field, and you use this card, you can play this card, and then what you can do is you can shuffle another counter trap into the hand, say this one, and then draw it off of Bountiful. So you always get a counter trap you want. It's just a good card. The first of the two offs, Valkyria. I run it because not every single one of my counter traps does negate, as you've seen with Drastic Drop Off. But in saying that, it's still a powerful card, being able to search, and generally when people see this they get worried. You can just summon this and set a Drastic Drop Off and they'll get scared thinking that you have a negate on board and play a little bit more carefully. So it's always good to do that. And it also is not run at 1 or 3. The reason I run it at 2 specifically is because at 1 you never draw into it, and at 3 you draw into it too much. You kind of want it at the sweet spot. 2 for Sacred Art Air Knight Parshaft. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. I run it 2 because he's summonable and searchable, which is always neat, and his effect isn't that bad. I mean, you can search solemns, that's always good, but you never want to actually really draw into him. You either want to search him when the time's right, or summon him off of your counter traps, or at least I find I never want to draw into him. The one-offs, Mateel, you can summon him off of Ties to Brethren, you can search him, you can draw him possibly off Bountiful. There's a lot of ways you can get to the card, so you never want to run it anymore. Also, he's a card you don't want to see, as he's, let's face it, only good when you're winning. But yeah, honest, you only run it at 1 because it is extremely searchable. I mean, well, extremely easy to get to, not searchable, because I mean, the Valkyria, the Bountiful, I mean, that's 5 cards that can get to it itself, which is a 6 card. The 3 Ties of the Brethren that I have in the deck, that's 9 cards that can get to it. So it's always good to have. I mean, it's mainly there for when you want to get over an opponent's boss that can be destroyed by battle. That's it with the monster lineup. And as you've already seen, Ties of the Brethren. Run it at 3 because it's just, it turns your honest into pretty much the dream board with it is generally these 3. Generally, that's what I go for, so that I can put the Honest back to hand and start the Bountiful Minerva combo. Because of that, when you play it, you should be fine. The second you play this, pretty much you win, because you just get so much advantage. Free Sanctum. This should be obvious as to why I run it. It's just great. For those who don't know what it does, it's named Sanctuary in the Sky. That automatically helps, as it means that all of the cards that need Sanctuary in the Sky, they can get their effects off. It increases their attack, which, I mean, that's nice. Of course, the problem is it increases all Fairy's attacks, which means Trickstars. But then again, Trickstars shouldn't be that much of a worry, as you can negate most of their shit. Set cards can't be destroyed, not negated, sorry. So, this card, it's only in the main deck because it's just better than Sanctuary, but I'll probably, if I run into a lot of Paleozoics, change it to more Sanctuary and Terraforming and less Sanctum, as I don't want to have to deal with that shenanigans. But that only depends on your locals, because, you know, you're looking at a review from an unknown YouTuber, you're not going to go to regionals. Sanctuary 1, its name, its effect doesn't matter, it's very rarely, if ever, going to come up. Terraforming, search a Sanctuary, that's like it. Deck thinning, no. Dark Hole, don't even need to explain it, but yeah. I run this in the main deck instead of a side deck for only one reason, that's Stanku Seka. Oh, how the hell you pronounce it? That's it. Now, where it gets interesting, free drastic drop-off, running free in every cantrip deck, pretty much. It's so good, it works, it really does. It makes the deck, in my opinion. It turns every single one of your opponent's draws or Pot of Desires into this just stop your opponent from drawing and draw. It's insane. And in some cases it's a draw, a search, freaking judgment, Harshath. It allows you to summon the boss monster. It negates. Its cost is a little bit heavy if you don't have the guiding, but you should have the guiding. So the cost doesn't really matter too much. A problem I have found is that a lot of the counter traps don't deal with summons, and because of that, I am going to get Solemn Strike and put it in when I'm actually using it, but as this is a budget build, I'm not running it, because last time I checked it was a bit much to run it free, as well as getting, you know, Judgment and spending however much to get the Broken Mind. I never checked how much that was, as well as getting a Dark Hole and the $60 on the structure deck. I mean, Divine Punishment. It's a good enough, you know, card. It negates, it does need Sanctuary, so be wary about that. A lot of cards do need Sanctuary in this deck, which is problematic, but besides that, it's a great card. Ultimate Providence. The only difference between it and Divine, and I'm probably going to swap the amounts, is that this discards whereas this doesn't, and this needs Sanctuary whereas this doesn't. I find that I generally do have guiding, so I'm probably going to drop the Dark Punishment to 2 and add this to 3, but it really depends what you seem to find, and if you have any searching for your pendulum or not. Light of Judgment. I wish this was a counter trap, and I'm still salty that it isn't a counter trap, but they'll look at your opponent's hand and discard a card's pretty nice, but the problem is it takes you having Sanctuary and discarding a card just to use it. That's a bit steep in my opinion, seeing as you can't lose it. But that's the main thing you're going to use. You might possibly send your opponent's card to the graveyard, but generally you're going to fuck with their hand because it's just better to know what your opponent's hitting you with. I run it at 2 because if it was at 1, I would never see it, in which case it wouldn't be a threat and it would just be pointless. And if I ran it at 3, well, I would get it when I don't have the field set. Broken Line. I run it at 1 because, well, I could have ran it at 2 or 3, but I chose 1 because I just want to use it, get my opponent scared and changing their zones, and that's it. If I ran 3, what would happen is I'd use the 1, they would start moving their zones, and then I would never be able to use the others, and they'll just be in my hand. Whereas at the 1, I can use it. They'll start moving their zones, but it doesn't affect the rest of my cards, and I get the effect off. So I mean, that's there. Warning. I mean, you need as many solemns as possible. It's rather cheap for the effect. It negates normal summons. It's bloody insane. You can get Drastic if you have that in the graveyard and you have Minerva. It is great. And the best card in the deck, and one of the best cards in the game currently, and just insane, is Judgment. This card will fuck your opponent's shit. You play this, even without guiding it, and they're dead. You do this, like, if you get these two at the right time, you just win. And with Judgment, it's the kind of card that you play this, you negate your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You just say, stop Yu-Gi-Oh! You get to draw a card, and in some situations you're not even paying, as well as getting a Drastic back. Like, it's insane. I'm not going to show an extra deck, because this deck, well, it kind of can't use an extra deck. The only card in the extra deck it could use is the level 8 Synchro. The reason we don't run an extra deck is because the only real expendable cards for rank 4s or links are, well, these two. Valkyria, when you have, you generally want to use its effect. Minerva, when you have it on the field, you generally want to use its effect. And Guiding, I mean, you always want it in the Pendulum Zone. I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of expendable, but not really. And Bountiful you have to have. So these are the expendable cards, and with, you know, very few expendable cards, you're not gonna risk them, and by the time you have both of them in your hand, you've already used them, and there's no point even bothering. In saying that, side deck, I chose not to say, because I'm not going to tell you how you should side. I don't know what your local's like. You should make that how it is. Use your Ash, use your Ghost, use whatever the fuck you want to use. Make it your kind of style, and just use this. That's the only card I'm saying you have to use. Use this. Fucking love that card. Well, that's, I guess, the deck profile. So if you liked it, or if you want to see more of my awkward profiles, like, fucking subscribe, all that jazz. Comment if you want to, you know, see more deck profiles, or if you want to ask for a deck profile, then I'll see if I can do it, and I'll do it as soon as possible. Or comment about something that constructive. Obviously I have shitty phone quality. I'm using a fucking iPhone 5S, and it was stable, and then I took it out. That kind of had to happen. The second I get money, I'm going to fix up the quality. I'll get a camera, I'll get a stand, and I'll stop being, depressing as shit. And for those people who actually stayed through 15 minutes of pure fucking monotone bullshit, have a good day. And fucking, when the meta bites at you, bite back. I'm Solemn, and I'll be cringy.